And then I also want to talk about air traffic controllers, the shutdown, and our staffing issues and the mitigation efforts that we've been deploying to make sure we keep the airspace safe. So first off, with regard to the crash last night, the NTSB gave a press conference earlier. There are a lot of videos online. A lot of theories have been deployed online based on what folks have seen. We are not in the business of theories. We don't speculate. We are going to wait for the facts to come out, and with those facts, we will present them to the American people, as well as with the NTSB. I'd also note the FAA has a ground team in conjunction with the NTSB, both of them are doing great work to get to the facts of what happened. I do want to extend my condolences to the families of those who lost loved ones in the crash. I did have an opportunity to speak with the union head of the UPS pilots, extended my condolences as well. He indicated that he was very good friends with the pilots on that aircraft. So condolences to the families. This issue, though, of the aircraft is very different than the second issue, which is air traffic controllers, which, by the way, this was not an air traffic control issue. It appears that it was a mechanical issue. Everyone's been clear on that. That is not speculation. Two very separate issues at play. In regard to air traffic control, we've had a conversation over the course of the last month about some of the challenges that we're having in the airspace. Many of you know that we are 2,000 controllers short, air traffic controllers short, and we have surged our academy to bring more controllers into our system. We are 20% up in controllers through the academy thus far this year. I've also offered air traffic controllers who are of the age of retirement a 20% upfront cash bonus to actually stay on. Some of the best controllers we have don't retire, keep working for us. All of that has been reducing the pressure on the staffing side of air traffic control. It's working, but it takes years to bring more well-trained, certified controllers into the airspace. The shutdown is having an impact on our ability to maintain those numbers and dent that 2,000 shortage that we have. You also know we're modernizing the airspace. We have an old set of equipment that we use to control America's airspace. We have, though, the safest airspace in the world. And that's not because of the equipment. That's because of the well-trained air traffic controllers that we have operating the national airspace. We received $12.5 billion from the Congress in one big, beautiful bill. And we need a total of $31.5 billion to accomplish the mission of completely rebuilding America's airspace. The work has begun. We're transitioning our telecommunications. We're about to announce a project manager to do all of the work for this brand new system. But I want to talk about what's happening over the course of the last month with regard to the shutdown. Our air traffic controllers and a lot of those who work at DOT, but throughout government, they haven't received paychecks. And many of these employees, they're the head of household. They have their spouse at home. They have a child or two or three. And when they lose income, they are confronted with real-world difficulties in how they pay their bills. And so for air traffic controllers, they received a partial payment in early October. The second payment, they got a big fat zero, no paycheck at all. Tomorrow, they get a pay stub email on what their next paycheck is going to be. And when that pay stub comes out, that is also going to be zero. So they will have gone a month without any pay. And what we're finding is that our air traffic controllers, because of the financial pressures at home, are taking side jobs. They need to put food on the table, gas in the car, pay their bills. By the way, I do not want them to take side jobs. I want them to show up for work. We have asked them to show up for work, but I'm not naive to understand that they're trying to figure out how they meet their daily obligations. And so because of that, we have seen staffing pressures throughout our airspace. Those who travel will see that we've had more delays. We've had more cancellations. We do not want to see disruptions at the FAA or here at DOT. We don't want that. But our number one priority is to make sure when you travel safely. And that's why, as the administrator and I have been talking throughout the day, His team has been working for the last 24, 36, 48 hours crunching data. We're noticing that there's additional pressure that's building in the system. And again, our priority is to make sure that you're safe. And so we're going to talk about additional measures that we are going to take that's going to reduce the risk profile in the national airspace. And I'm going to turn it over to the administrator to do that as he walks through what that plan is going to look like. I anticipate there will be additional disruptions. There will be frustration. We are working with the airlines. They're going to work with passengers. But in the end, our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible. The administrator is going to talk about all of the tools we're going to deploy. One of them, though, is going to be that there is going to be a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 of our locations. The administrator is going to tell you that this is data-based. This is not based on what airline travels, has more flights out of what location. This is about where is the pressure and how do we alleviate the pressure. And so I want to thank him for, again, him and his team's great work.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.